What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have like and sub, and let's get into this. So I was not going to watch Rebel Moon Part 2. I did not enjoy my time with Rebel Moon Part 1. I was not going to watch Part 2. And the only reason I did is because I will be going on Diabolical Souls Presents Gooch, betterly known as his channel. Little Platoon's going to be there. Vex Electronica is going to be there, and we're going to be talking about this. So that'll be Wednesday. But thankfully, I am not alone in my suffrage. Our boy, the Critical Drinker, he is going to be suffering with us. And thankfully, also thank the gods, it's only 6 minutes, which means he's going to be quick and concise with his destruction of this because, it's just as bad as the first one. I know some people are saying it's worse. I personally, it doesn't say much. I found this one easier to follow and enjoyed my time more with this one versus the first one, but I still hated both. So let's see what Mr. Drinker thinks.
You know, it's a rare movie indeed that can make me genuinely question my career choice as a film critic, but I think Rebel Moon 2 might have just managed it. Or to give it its full title, Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scar Giver.
And he wants to do 6 movies. 6 movies each, 2 hours each, and all of them with director's cuts. God help us all.
It's one thing to be comically inept, it's another thing to be boring and tedious, and it's another thing to be completely derivative, cliched and unoriginal, but it takes a special kind of cinematic anti-genius to bring all these things together into one movie. Luckily for us, Zack Snyder has just the right combination of flawed vision and completely unjustified self-belief to pull it off, because good lord, this movie was terrible in ways that actually left me feeling strangely impressed.
It really felt like when you were a kid and you'd play make-believe and shit, and you'd be like, okay, we go over there and there's aliens attacking and now they shoot, but they just were recording it and had better costumes. But it's that level of emotional feeling and connection, and there's a death scene that's supposed to be big and emotional. It's like, bro, this is 2 kids one pretending to die while the other pretends to cry. It's just nah.
Like, you have to actively work to make a film this bad. Anyway, I'm going to do the opposite of Rebel Moon here and try to be as quick and efficient with my review as possible. So, on with the plot summary. The movie follows on directly from the events of the first film. Strong female character has assembled the not-so-magnificent 7 to defend some shitty village at the ass end of nowhere from evil space empire, led by a man with possibly the worst haircut in all of cinematic history.
All of them. This haircut is some sort of military haircut, and I hate it. They all do it, and one person does it on purpose, is like the before battle haircut. Oh, dear God. It's bad. That first movie, by the way, I always described it as like a video game where instead of playing the main quest or the interesting side quest, you just go around, you do all the companion recruitment quests. So that was the first one.
History. Honestly, every time I looked at him, all I could think of was Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber, so let's just call him Evil Lloyd. So after kicking Evil
100%.
Lloyd's ass in the first movie, strong female character and the not-so-magnificent 7 return to Shitty Village to celebrate, because, losing one senior officer is clearly going to be enough to make this entire space fleet abandon their mission and go home. But oh no, it turns out that...
And as she points out, the Scar Giver, I actually don't even remember what her actual name is. If the admiral of the ship is killed, they have to go back to home base or whatever. And even though, as in the group section, the Little Platoon pointed out to me, there were in fact those, and I remember now, those vagina portals from the first one. You don't see them in this one, and it takes forever for the ship, which is why they have so much time to prepare their defense. It's like, so what happened to your space travel?
Somehow Evil Lloyd returns, because death is more like a temporary inconvenience in movies like this. Well, when the script needs the rest of the plot to happen, at least. So Evil Lloyd and his evil chums are planning to return to the village in a few days to take all of the grain. Oh yeah, the fucking grain. In case you missed the first movie, in which case, good on ya, it turns out that a galaxy-spanning space empire that's mastered faster than light travel and literally bringing the dead back to life doesn't know how to grow food and relies on peasant farmers to keep them from starving to death.
And it's like 40 minutes of them farming. That's not even it's legit like 40 minutes of them farming.
Fuck off, film. And because
really slow motion raking with the reeds, just raking the sweat glistening, so much slow motion. Like, I'm a Zack Snyder defender of slow motion in a lot of his earlier movies, and in this one I'm like, is he doing a parody of himself?
This is a straight up knockoff of Seven Samurai. It's up to strong female character and the not so magnificent Seven to plan some kind of defense to fight them off. I mean, you could probably just poison the grain or something, but whatever. Let's just get on with it. So evil Lloyd and his evil chums show up and they spring their trap and there's a whole bunch of fighting and a couple of the not so magnificent Seven get killed before strong female character sneaks on board evil Lloyd's flagship and blows it up.
And the fighting's not good, by the way. There's a reason he's probably not showing clips of it. It's aside from obvious copyright reasons. It's just not good. It's not. Remember the part in the beginning I said it was like when you're playing with your friends? It's the level of choreography was like when you're playing with your friends too. The slow motion punches, you can see missing people. Yeah.
Just before it fires its super weapon at the village. Then she kills evil Lloyd permanently this time and goes back to the village to celebrate, and the ending does the most horrific thing imaginable. Teases the prospect of more movies.
Oh man. Oh God. Oh,
it won't
man.
end.
I've spoken in the past about my admiration for tight, efficient screenwriting that's able to convey a lot of information in a short time while making it seem effortlessly easy. Rebel Moon, on the other hand, is the complete opposite of that. It's like this film was written by a retarded AI that only had one other script to draw from as an example, and that script was Rebel Moon Part 1. Every conversation drags on at least 50% longer than it needs to, reiterating shit that the audience already knows and repeating things that have already been said. There's literally a scene where every major character sits around a table and lays out their tedious, repetitive backstories one after the other.
When the scene was happening, I was like, are they just going to go turn by turn telling like a sentence and then it shows a flash? Are they just going to turn? Yes, they in fact went turn by turn telling a generic backstory.
One gigantic exposition dump. What's that? Your peaceful village got destroyed by the evil...
under the guise of like drinking around the table and telling why they're there. But it feels forced.
Empire setting you on a path for revenge too? Oh my god, what are the odds, eh? This is not how you do character development, Zach. The antagonists make insanely dumb decisions at every possible stage, failing to spot very obvious traps, constantly putting themselves in vulnerable positions that they totally don't need to, and failing to make use of their overwhelming advantage in numbers, firepower, and technology.
Or guerrilla tactics, or using the grain as actual bait instead of using it as cover.
They're so fucking stupid and gullible that I genuinely don't understand how they even managed to not crash their ships into each other. Like, there's one point near the end of the movie where strong female character is able to sneak on board the enemy flagship by pretending to be a friendly pilot with wounded on boards. Like, wouldn't that require some kind of clearance code to make sure that she wasn't an enemy infiltrator? Wouldn't they recognize that she's flying a completely different ship from everyone else? Wouldn't they check her ID the moment she lands to make sure she is who she claims to be? Nah, they just let her on board so that the rest of the plot can happen.
This is the problem when you want to... I mean, you could do it. Movies like Dune and like the Knights of the Old Republic games do it, where you want to have futuristic and low-tech at the same time, but you don't explain why there's those gaps, i.e. why they can't fucking grow food. But like, at least in this, there's no like personal shielding like in Dune, or where they don't explain why everyone doesn't, like, they have swords and they don't explain why they don't just get shot in the face. Not everyone can do the magic Jedi thing. It's just not well thought out. Shockingly, Zack Snyder did not think this out, despite the fact that apparently he thinks he did.
Son of a bitch!
And that's not even mentioning the stuff that's just plain old baffling. Like, why is an intergalactic space dreadnought powered by fucking coal? Why are the bad guys so concerned with grain until they're not? Why does strong female character waste valuable time giving herself a fucking haircut before the big battle? Why do these violin players have bags on their heads? Why is Anthony Hopkins in this movie? None of the characters have anything even approaching a person.
And the answer to all of that is Zack Snyder thought it was cool. He thought it looked cool. That's what it is. Why did the robot show up with fucking antlers on? They never explained it. Zack Snyder thought it looked cool. Why do they all have those haircuts? Zack Snyder thinks it looks cool. Why does the ship old and fucking move at that speed? Zack Snyder thought it looked cool.
personality. Strong female character is a complete charisma vacuum that I didn't care about one bit. I wasn't interested in her backstory because it's so preposterous and melodramatic that it barely even made sense. I didn't care about her romance subplot because there's zero chemistry between the two actors, and I certainly didn't care about any of the other not so magnificent seven because the film gave me no reason to. They're all boring, disposable, interchangeable non-entities with all the personality of a bowl of porridge, played by actors who are probably way too good for this shit.
Yeah.
And aside from this, all the usual Snyderisms are present.
And he really tries, which makes it all the more sad that it's like, oof, wish you'd been in something else, buddy.
Correct. The bloated runtime, the washed out color palette, the depressingly over serious tone, the complete lack of identifiable human behavior, and of course, the abusive use of slow motion.
It's
like,
so
I really
much.
hope you enjoy watching people harvesting grain, because about 30% of the movie is just people swinging farm implements in slow motion like this is a charity appeal for food aid to Africa or something. It all adds up to a big pile of pretentious, dull, unimaginative dog shit without an ounce of energy or creative imagination. A film that was an absolute chore to get through, that has nothing to say and seems to have no particular reason for existing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I totally get why people wanted these movies to be good. I know we need to start creating new things to replace the tired old franchises that are being slowly bulldozed into the ground. But while it pains me to say this, Rebel Moon isn't the answer. And
No, it's not. I wanted to like it. It would have all been fine if you'd maybe gotten rid of the shitty haircuts and this just done actual dialogue and casted people like. You could have done something, but this is just soulless. I hate when people do that. This is soulless. And Zach gave an interview saying, like, well, just so you know, if you criticize me, a vote against me is a vote for focus groups and AI. Well, guess what, motherfucker? I would rather see what the focus groups and AI do compared to anything you're doing right now.
And Zack Snyder isn't the man to provide it. Take my advice, save your time, and look elsewhere. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Yeah, you pissed him off. You pissed off the drinker, and well, you should never do that. I advise you not to watch anything Rebel Moon. Go watch The Gentleman on Netflix, or you know what? Certainly, if you played the games, I will recommend Fallout. At least give that a try. But Rebel Moon, that's a no-no. Thank you, Drinker, for suffering through this with us, and we will see you Wednesday on Diabolical Souls Presents channel, Gooch, for the discussion of this. Like I said, Little Platoon, Vex Electronica, the Outcast Creative. It's a whole thing. So we will see you then. Thank you. Please make sure to like, share, and sub if you have done that. Thank you. If you're gonna do that, thank you.
Well, bye.